Hi guys, welcome to another episode. I have added lights. I'm so excited. We will be changing the lights colors depending on maybe the mood, but for now these look pretty good. Or maybe they do, maybe they don't. Thoughts? Anyway, so back to what we're going to be talking about today. So today we're going to be talking about genealogies. Now, some of y'all may not know necessarily what genealogies itself means, but it just means like generations basically. So like the timeline, the family tree. So in the last episode, I talked about Noah's drama and the drama that went through the family and the cursing that happened and the blessing that happened. Now, something that really interesting shows up in the Bible is the way it plays out, the way the family plays out because of what happened in the cursing and the blessings. So if y'all didn't watch the last episode, I'll give just a little bit of an overview. Noah's son, one of his sons, basically did a really gross, disgusting thing. He cursed his son and said basically his servant and his son, Canaan. So Ham was the son who disobeyed him, or not disobeyed him. He saw him naked. Let's just put it that way. Noah got drunk. Ham saw him naked, did nothing, told his brothers, and his brothers covered their dad and was like, okay. But they didn't see his dad. They went backwards and they covered him up. So Noah wakes up, finds out what happened, and he curses Ham. He basically says, Ham, your son Canaan, and his servants and stuff, you guys are basically cursed. You know, bad things are going to happen to your family. And the other two sons, he's like blessing the sons and saying that Canaan will end up being a servant to Shem and Ham. So as we go throughout the history and go throughout the stories of this, you guys, it's insane. But you're going to see a connection with what happened then, and knowing that the cursing is going to play out throughout the rest of history, basically. So let me just go through a little bit of the family that happened. I'm just going to give you some names that you guys really want to keep track of as we go through these stories, because, and I'm going to keep track of them, of course, that's why I wrote them down, because it's going to be insane what you guys are going to see in these next episodes, these next stories that I'm going to tell for you. So basically Shem ends up having Peleg, Abraham, remember that name, well, technically Abram, Nahor, Haran, who has Lot, and Sarai is somewhere in the family as well. Okay, so try to remember those names. Those are a little off, but I'll talk about them later. Ham. Okay, Ham has a son named Egypt, Canaan, Ramab. Probably I'm saying that all wrong. Nimrod, which goes back to another episode I talked about with the Tower of Babel. Nimrod is in connection with Ham's lineage, and bad things happen with Babel. Then you guys need to go watch that episode. It's so good. Shimar, Assyria, and so Nimrod had Shimar and Syria land. And Assyria is connected to Nineveh. Nineveh is going to be a while later from here, but just so that we can play this episode back, Nineveh. Now, these are a bunch of names that you probably are like, what the heck is going on, Christina? I'm not keeping track. I'm just naming off these names, and we can go back to refer to this episode because all of these names are going to play out in history. Pretty insane. In connection, Egypt is connected with the Philistines. They come from him, and from the Philistines, they come from the Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, and the clans disperse. And then there's Sodom and Gomorrah, which is connected to Ham's lineage. So basically, Ham's lineage, there's a whole bunch of names I threw out there, but it's basically sons or generation sons or lands of these sons. And all these names are in connection with Ham and his lineage. Now, if you look at Japheth has some other names, but they're not really, they could be played out later. I'm not quite sure. But Japheth has a lot of coastland people, so they end up moving around. Anyway, so Ham has a bunch of huge names in his generations, his kids, grandkids, and all that. And I'm going to go ahead and read the passage where it talks about them so that you can get a little bit better of an understanding of what's going on. These are the generations of the sons of Noah. There's Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons of them were born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, blah, 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 blah. There's a whole bunch. You guys can go to Genesis 10 if you want to read this for yourself. Genesis 10, verse 6, the sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. All right, Egypt and Canaan especially are the ones I most recognize. However, Cush and Put, P-U-T, Put. Interesting names, I know. Cush, I do also recognize as well. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sebtka. The sons of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush fathered Nimrod. So Cush fathered Nimrod. So it's basically Ham's grandson, Nimrod. And what did I talk to you about Nimrod? Nimrod was one of the leaders that happened with the Tower of Babel and other nations that happened from that. And crazy things happened from that. So you guys want to watch my other video called, it says on there Babel. I don't remember what I titled that episode. Funny enough. I know, I'm all over the place, guys. I'm so sorry. So Cush fathered Nimrod. He was the first on the earth to be a mighty man. Nimrod was a mighty hunter. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, the land of Shinar. So that's all in his land. From that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh. So Nineveh is also connected to Nimrod, and Nimrod is the grandson of Ham. And Nineveh, there's a whole big story on that. So we'll be calling back to this episode as well. Rehoboth, Kala, and Rezin between Nineveh and Kala. There is a great city. Egypt fathered Ludim, Anam, Liban, Nephtuhim. I don't know how to say any of these names. Pathros, from Casluhim, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorim. Okay, the Philistines, that is a big one to remember. So the Philistines came from Casluhim. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, it's still connected with Ham. Canaan fathered Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, Amorites, and Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, and the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterwards, the clan of Canaanites dispersed. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot of names. I'm so sorry. That's verse 15 in chapter 10. Anyway, from Canaan came a bunch of other people, and a bunch of those lands will also be called back in this episode, because there are so many stories about all these people, and they are insane. But needless to say, mostly all of these people who are connected to Ham, a lot of bad things happen. Let's just put it that way. A lot of bad people. So anyway, and to Shem also fathered the son of children of Eber, the brother of Japheth. Children were born, the sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Lud, Amam, a lot of people, Hul. To Eber was born this and a bunch of other people and a bunch more people. These are the clans of Noah. Now, so if we fast forward to Shem's descendants in chapter 11, these are the generations of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he fathered a bunch of other people 2 years after the flood. So Shem had a kid 2 years after the flood. His name was Arpachshad. This is a long episode, guys, for just a bunch of names. Then there's Peleg, and he fathered Ru. When Ru had lived, he fathered Sereg and Ru. There's a bunch of more names. This is confusing. Anyway, when Terah had lived 7 years old. Now, when Nahor had lived, Nahor fathered Terah. Terah fathered Abram, Nahor, Haran. Okay, these are the three names. Well, essentially, Abram and Nahor, those two names, are going to need to be remembered for quite a while in these next few episodes. You're going to want to keep watching. So I'm sorry this episode has been insanely confusing. There have been a lot of names thrown out. This is just the precursor to what is to come. So you may not have watched this whole episode. And if you did, bless you for hanging in there for so long, because this was a fun ride. There were so many names. Anyway, I wrote down a bunch of them so that I could remember. You can't see it, but it's in pencil. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging in with me today. Hopefully tomorrow or whenever the next episode comes out, it will make more sense and you'll be able to rewatch this one and be like, oh, that's what she's talking about. All right, love you all. Have a blessed day.